This presentation of Endure 2020 on the QC Broadcasting Network is presented by Elevate Marketing and Promotions, Minuteman Press, Call Carlo Mechanic and Maintenance, and 511 CrossFit Training Gear, the official CrossFit training vest of the CrossFit Games. Welcome inside CrossFit Unite here in Concord, North Carolina. We're here for our second leaderboard update after week 2 of Endure 2020 qualifiers and yet another exciting week. Of course, 20.3 Crazy Fran followed by AMRAP 20 with 20.4. Some very rigorous workouts. We saw the workout videos, some teams working extremely hard. And I do have to say, you might be the craziest person on planet Earth to think that Crazy Fran is fun, because just watching some of these athletes do this workout was just taxing to me. I honestly had to lay down and take a nap after watching these. It's unbelievable. Oh my goodness, what a hard workout. But just in general, kind of similar to how we did last week. We'll talk about the workout first, then we'll go through the leaderboard. Overall, what did you think of how the teams performed, and did you think that the people that would perform well kind of thrived in 20.3?
Oh, yeah. I think it was definitely as expected. But the unexpected was I had a couple of emails after the workouts were released, mostly from the scale division of, okay, well, is there a substitute for pull-ups? If I don't have pull-ups, can we do ring rows through the whole workout? And I know it's an answer that no CrossFitter loves to hear of. No, you can spend some time. This could be your chance to get your pull-up. And a lot of times when you put yourself out of that comfort zone, and you're like, geez, okay, I've got to do it, it happens. And the great example was from an athlete over with, was it Blood, Sweat, and Beers?
Blood, Sweat, and Beers. Mm-hmm.
So Elise Anderson had, hey, Elise, shout out. I'm like, you made my week last week. So she emailed me and she asked the question of, what if I don't have pull-ups? And I responded and told her, just you can use that time to work on your pull-ups and try to get your first one. Mm-hmm. So she said, okay, I'll work on that for sure. And then a couple days later, she sends me an email and she said, I tried the pull-ups. I tried to do the pull-ups, and I got 15. And that is freaking phenomenal. I mean, one is a huge celebration win, but 15. And Elise, we watched your video, and I am shocked that you weren't doing the happy dance in the middle of the WOD. You seemed so cool and collected, like, oh, okay, yep, my chin was over the bar, I got it. And not only did she just get her first pull-up, but she did, I think the 3 unbroken. And I'm pretty sure it was 3 before she had to come down. So that was super cool to see. And that's what all this is about. I mean, and that was more exciting for me to see and hear about than, a lot of times. And I like seeing that stuff than seeing that the RX team that we know have the skills and the movements finish under the time cap. Because we all remember and we all know what was our first pull-up was like, and our first day in a CrossFit and our first everything. So that's super cool. Yeah, and then I've heard some teams, I've got some texts from some of my own teams. Mm-hmm. I hate you. Or that was just miserable. And that's okay, because I know that feeling just lasts just for a little while, and then it dissipates, and you're ready for the next one. So it's good.
Plus, when some teams see their times or see their reps, even they probably look back and say, you know what? Even though that was a little bit of hell, it was worth it in the end. Yeah. I thought one of the things that was interesting when you go back and you look at the times, there was an 18-minute time cap on it, but I feel like you either saw people finish well within the time. I think there was a kind of a group that was there from the 13-minute mark. That was kind of where everybody that finished was, and then there was the group that capped out. Why do you think that there's really that divide there between the teams? Like, it's either you finish pretty early or you're going to have to go over the cap.
It's that skill. Mm-hmm. I feel like that all comes for most folks. It comes down to the skill of the bar muscle up or the chest to bar, whatever that high skill movement is, and you have to take a lot more time in between doing those reps. Heavy thrusters combined with that are gruesome. You just can't rep them out. But once you get to you don't want to fail. You don't want to have a missed rep when you're trying to do a WOD. So if you're on the bar muscle ups and you can't string them together, doing one at a time, athletes will typically do one or two, and then they come down from the bar, and then they wait to let their muscles recover 20 seconds to 30 seconds before doing another one, because the worst thing mentally is, especially when you're in that pain cave and you're past it and you're kind of foggy headed, the worst thing that can happen is you go up to hit one and you miss the rep, and then it messes with you mentally. Then you think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get this, or I don't have this. I don't know and it just messes with you mentally. So it is definitely, that's the difference. Big difference there.
Yeah, overall, though, some great times out there in all of the divisions. And I think, the one that we were talking about the most is we'll try to head, into the leaderboards here. Let's talk about 20.4 first before we do that. But, what did you think about how the performances that you saw stacked up in that? I thought, it was interesting to look at the different divisions, see some of the divisions that put up some really high rep numbers, some other divisions where the rep numbers were a little bit lower. But still, I thought, just from watching some of the videos, these athletes were moving on this one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the synchronized devil's presses, 20 devil's presses is a lot. It's a lot of devil's presses. The devil's presses might be one of the most hated movements in CrossFit these days, and to synchronize them is challenging. So that slowed some folks down, and then they gain some ground on the lunges or the box step overs, and then to turn around and have to make sure you're synchronized in your core movement, the toes to bar, that slows you back down. So it's almost like you start off kind of nice and easy and slow, and then you can catch back up on the step overs, and then have to gear it back down to make sure you're in tune with your partner, and then you goes through the lunges, but it ends up being a roller coaster of going up and down. But yeah, and for some athletes, 35 pounds, single arm, no big deal. So those ones that were hitting that heavy weight in the back squat and can handle that heavy weight, that's nothing to them. And that's where you see those high reps go. But for others, if, that weight on the devil's presses is challenging, that's where you'll start to see it's slowed down a little bit.
Well, one of the groups that I thought, performed the best really in this second week and kind of leads off the most interesting division that we have here, which is the female scale division, was Just Show Up Davidson out of CrossFit Davidson. They did a fantastic job in both drills. Now they currently lead, but it's kind of grouped together at the top. It's pretty interesting here. There's a group of three at the top. You got Just Show Up from CrossFit Davidson, Need That Fan, though, from CrossFit Indian Trail, and then it's shorthanding on Anything But Thrusters, which is, of course, an interesting name considering you said that those are very difficult. I find that's interesting that they went with that name at a CrossFit Wicked. So you got those three at the top. Then there's a little bit of separation. But, I think those three, we saw the one video submission from Just Show Up from CrossFit Davidson. We also saw them last week. I think right now, they've really stood out among that female scale division, but they're only ahead by 1 point. Anybody could come out in first place out of those three that we talked about.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see, especially after the final odds this week.
And then I thought, one of the most interesting things was you saw the group we talked about last week, Lisa's ladies here at a CrossFit Unite.
Coming right up the leaderboard.
There you go. They started out last week. They finished 8th in 20.1, 9th in 20.2. So, naturally some people might say, well, how are they going to be able to recover? You told us right here on our leaderboard show last week that they were going to make a charge, and sure enough, they did. Right now, they're in the top 5. Now, granted, there's a tie for 5th with a couple other teams as well, but right now they're in a spot where they look like they could end up qualifying for those finals in December.
Yeah, and super proud. I'm super proud of them, but they gamed their Crazy Fran awesomely. Aaron did most of the thrusters. The other one, Kate did most of the pull-ups when it got to the pull-ups, because Aaron that doesn't have pull-ups yet, and those two just strolled right through it. And I'm telling you what, one of those athletes, Erin Hicks, she's a wonderful. I've seen her like blossom into a butterfly ever since she started CrossFit. But she is suffering with tendonitis going on in her ankle, and she's still like, I am doing this, but whether she has to limp out of here or not, she did. She suffered through it, and then was already asking what the upcoming workouts were for next week. I thought, oh, God bless to be young again. But she is phenomenal. I'll never forget her first day at Foundations, and I thought I killed her. And then I thought, she's never coming back. And she came back, and she's here at the gym 4 to 5 days a week. She's wonderful.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job climbing that leaderboard. As we mentioned, kind of, two different tiers here, but it's a very interesting division. You got Just Show Up from CrossFit Davidson with 10 points in first place. Tied for second, both Need That Fan and Anything But Thrusters with 11 points. Salute the Glutes out of CrossFit Davidson as well in fourth place with 20 points. And then you have that battle for that fifth and final spot. It's Lisa's Ladies from here at CrossFit Unite with 24 points. Wonder Twins from CrossFit Northlake with 24 points. Day Of from That's Right Fitness with 24 points as well. And then right behind them, we talked about Blood, Sweat, and Beers. They're right behind them. Had a personal best with the pull-ups and everything like that with 27 points, so still in the running, as well as Barbell Misfits. Even though they had a tough week, this workout really got to them. They're still there with 28 points. So it's amazing that right now there are 5 teams that are battling for that final spot. Man, what a division this is. You talked about how exciting this division was going to be, and I'm assuming to this point, in your mind, it's definitely delivered.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And gosh, who knows what we have if we have a tie for 5th. We're just going to have several teams here, and we'll just make it one big throwdown on December 5th.
Well, I'd be excited to see that because those ladies definitely go hard. In the other female division, of course, the RX, you got No Regrets out of CrossFit Unite. Again, we kind of talked about last week, they're the only team in that division, but, they can still try to get, personal best, everything like that. What did you think of their performance in the Crazy Fran and in the AMRAP 20?
They did great. They hate me after AMRAP 20. But they did.
I think that's a common thinking at this point. But
and I got the text message as soon as they were done. But the Crazy Fran, so proud of them. They, like I think I mentioned last week, they both had just gotten bar muscle ups within the past couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. One of them is my training partner, and her and I have been working out together for a long time, and she's been CrossFitting for I think 8 years.
Wow.
And she finally got bar muscle ups, and it's not the chicken wing bar muscle up. It's the pretty bar muscle up right over the bar, presses out on the top. And they got through, I think they got through the first round of 12 bar muscle ups before they were capped, and that was the first time that they actually did bar muscle ups on their own in a workout. And those two come in every day. They've made a pact. We're doing 5 bar muscle ups a day to reinforce the skill. And so that was great to see them do that well, because had that workout a couple months ago, I don't know that they would have gotten as far.
Well, that's fantastic. And, they were part of the group that did a fantastic job, even though they got capped, put up a good amount of reps as well. So really good job for them staying, motivated in a division that could be hard to stay motivated in when you're just kind of by yourself, as opposed to when you get to the finals, it's going to be a little bit different. But, you look at the male-female Masters RX division, another one that's kind of close at the top, the Yeah Daddies, which are independent, and We Goes Balls Deep from Pine Fit or CrossFit Pine Barons. You look at them, 6 points apiece at the top. Then there's a little bit of separation to Better Naked from No Limit Fitness with 12 points, Snatch and a Jerk with 16 points. But, that division, pretty interesting because these are the pinnacle of the athletes that are in CrossFit. How did you think, they kind of showed out? Because interestingly enough, those haven't been the areas where we've seen some of the best numbers. It's been some of the other areas where we've actually seen some athletes that really aren't on their level yet put up some better numbers so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just depends. Like a lot of folks, they'll be in the scaled division, and they'll sign up for scaled because they don't have a high skill movement, but they do have the strength. So they might have the same strength as those in the RX division, but they just don't have a handstand push-ups or toes to bar or double unders. So you'll see a lot of those folks sign up for scaled. So when you throw a 20-pound dumbbell in their hand and they can easily snatch 95 or 100 pounds over their head with a barbell or more, that 20-pound dumbbell is so light, so they can move so much quicker, and it's so that's where you will see a lot of the high reps, and it's just because of those athletes that just they might not have that high skill, but they do have the strength and the cardio, and the conditioning.
Yeah, so there's two teams on top. Of course, they're the ones that look like they're going to be battling for first place in the male-female RX division. Now, only 3 teams in this division, but this division is really interesting because there is absolutely really no separation. You got Cookies and Cream from CrossFit Hogtown with 7 points. You got Strong Together Byram from CrossFit ITC with 8 points. And then you got Bar Wars Independent Group with 9 points. Everybody really close in that division. I think that's one of those ones where we saw Cookies and Cream last week. We got to look at the other 2 in this division this week. I think all 3 teams look really good, and that's going to be one that's going to be a fantastic race as we go through the final workouts here with 20.5 and 20.6.
Yeah.
That division, a very interesting male-female scale division. A few more people in here. Again, now you start to see the battles for, these positions, these 5 positions that are going to be available. MNC from CrossFit MC with 7 points. The young group of Joey and Leah in second place. We talked about them last week. CrossFit S3 with 9 points. You got 5201 Metro, an independent group with 10 points. Again, they kind of have, like we saw with the female scale division, where there is sort of a group at the top. Those are the 3 at the top. Then you follow that with Mr. and Mrs. That's Right from That's Right Fitness with 17 points. The Homebodies from Railway CrossFit with 18 points. And then IKR, which, believe it or not, I actually read that out and said their team name wrong as a young adult myself who should know what IKR stands for.
What does it mean?
It says, I know right. I said, I know you're right.
Oh,
so clearly you can tell that I am not the biggest texter in the world. I am not good with shorthand like that.
Neither am I.
But they are currently in 6th place with 22 points. But you kind of see it again. You have the top group up there with the 3 that are battling for that top position. Then you have the 4 at the bottom or 3 at the bottom, I should say, that are battling for, to hold on to a position for those final 2 qualifier spots. Another interesting division that has some really good competitors.
And still we've got the Masters and the young ones. Masters 1,
right.
The young ones 2.
And I mean,
super cool to see.
You've seen both of them. I mean, right now, if you had to take a guess, which team do you think has the edge out of the 2?
Oh, I'm going to go for the Masters.
Look at that. Oh, there we go. You got to go with the veterans. Well,
Yes.
I'll take the young ones. Joey and Leah, go get it done.
So yeah. So I'll never forget watching an open workout where they had a Masters games athlete against a teenager games athlete, and the teenager came out hot out of the gate, and the Masters athlete just was really steady and really smooth, and ended up surpassing the teenager. The teenager ended up burning out, and he ended up surpassing. So I read it there's just case in point of the experience. Older is wiser.
Slow and steady wins the race. Right. That's right.
Yeah, but
pace yourself.
Both very cool. That's actually the first leaderboard I went to go see who was doing what.
There you go. I had to go to the female scale division because that's my favorite division. But then you go to the male RX division. I am second, kind of, in control there. They have 7 points right now out of CrossFit Northlake. The Hooligans, Latitude 35 CrossFit with 11 points. But then you got the interesting battles here. You got Double Trouble from CrossFit Liberate with 14 points. CrossFit South Cherry, their first team out of CrossFit South Cherry with 14 points. CrossFit Cabarrus with 19 points. And CrossFit South Cherry Team 2 with 19 points. So you got the battles going on there as well. A big dip from CrossFit South Cherry Team 2 in week 2, but it still looks like everybody has a chance here to qualify for the finals, and it looks like I Am Second is well on their way to changing their team name to I Am First. Yes, because they did a fantastic job. But, this was the division where last week we saw them kind of put up some huge numbers because you saw the weights really get in. I mean, there were teams that were lifting 700 pounds finishing in 5th.
Yeah.
This week was a little bit different. How do you think this kind of challenged that division?
Oh, well, I mean, it's you had to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
You have to breathe through Crazy Fran. You have to breathe through an AMRAP of 20, and sometimes like one of our coaches likes to say, the athletes that have the bigger muscles, it takes more time for the oxygen to reach those muscles. So that's a lot. Sometimes you see the ones that can put up the heavy numbers on the squat rack. They have a harder time trying to breathe through some of the other workouts. So that, and I'll tell you, Fran in of itself is oxygen intensive. So much less throwing some double unders into that and making the workout longer. You really have to have good lungs and be able to breathe quick or get that oxygen replenished throughout your whole body pretty quickly.
So there you go. She just explained why everybody's sending her hate mail there, because it's all about the breathing. And we all know that when you focus on your breathing, it gets harder to breathe. So, but you finish up male scale division. You got Super Troopers, the Composters. Man, these two teams have just gone back and forth. Both weeks you've had one workout. Each team has taken one of the workouts in first place. The other team finished right behind them in second. So this comes down, both teams with 6 points as of right now. The Super Troopers from CrossFit Crib and the Composters from, which are an independent group, both with 6 points. So this is another one where it's a smaller group, but it's really interesting because pretty much you're going to have one team this final week take both of the workouts, or else you're going to end up with a tie. So there should be some extra motivation here in this group.
Oh, yeah. And somebody had sent me a message asking that if they have pups in their videos, if it's extra points. And I say, I love 4 dogs. And I say always, pups give extra points, so they might want to throw some dogs in their videos.
You heard that, Super Troopers and the Composters. Make sure you have the dogs in the videos. That might be the difference between a win. But, so, this week's workouts, I'm assuming they're not as bad as Crazy Fran. That was maybe a little bit over the top. That was the toughest one you had. But I'm assuming this is also one that is still going to be able to try to settle some of those battles that we're talking about for the qualifier spots and even for the spots in these groups when they're battling for wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got 2. One is a very quick rip the Band-Aid off. Let's see how we can do this. And then the other one is require definitely cardio and the ability to lift something heavy under fatigue. So 20.5, we've got double Randy. Both of them being hero workouts. It's hero workout week, or one's them actually is a benchmark. But both workouts are named after the guys. So 20.5, we have double Randy, which is 150 snatches for time. So Randy, the traditional Randy CrossFit workout, is 75 snatches for time. Now we just doubled it because we've got 2 people working, and we have 150 snatches for time. RX weights at 75 for the guys, 55 for the ladies. Scaled is at 65 for the guys, 45 for the ladies. Just a simple movement. That's all they're doing, snatching. You can divide the work however they want, and just to get there as quickly as possible. Time cap is 10 minutes. But I imagine I see some teams coming in well under that time cap.
All right, yeah, so that'll be an area where people can separate from each other, as well as 20.6. You said this one, after kind of ripping the Band-Aid off, is a little bit tougher. So what does this entail to close out the competition?
So eat your Wheaties before doing this workout, guys. Anytime you put some deadlifts, heavy deadlifts in a workout and pair it with, box jumps and bar-facing burpees and wall balls, you are going to be taxed. So we've got 20.6 is Mark and Dennis. It's a hero WOD. 8 rounds for time. Each athlete will do 4 box jumps. The RX height will be 30 inches for the guys, 24 inches for the ladies. The scale division will do box step-ups at 24 inches for the guys, 20 inches for the ladies. You guys will switch every rep. So I'll do a box jump. Anthony will do box jump. We should test that.
We could try. That's not going to look pretty, but sure.
I'll do one. Anthony will do one until we each have completed 4 box jumps each, or 8 total. Then we go to 18 deadlifts. You have 2 separate bars, or the ladies, if they wanted to share the same bar, or you can, even female scaled can still set up 2 separate bars. You have 18 deadlifts. The guy's RX weight is 245 pounds. The ladies' RX weight is 170 pounds. Scaled weight for the guys is 170. Scaled weight for the ladies is 95 pounds. Now, when I'm doing my deadlift, Anthony would be doing a hang hold. So your partner is doing something while you're doing the deadlift. And whenever you switch, you have to do the deadlift. You switch the deadlift. You cannot start doing your reps of the deadlift until the partner's on the pull-up bar doing a hang hold. Then after you're done with those deadlifts, you go to 7 synchronized bar-facing burpees, and you end that round with 36 wall balls. Guys, for RX, we're doing 20 pounds. Ladies, 14. Scaled is 14 for the guys and 10 for the ladies. You're switching every 6 wall balls. 8 rounds for time of all of that work. It's fun.
Wow. Yeah.
That'll tax your central nervous system.
Well, there you go. We've got your entire body being attacked here in these 3 weeks, but we're going to find out who comes on top. Some really interesting battles that are going on, and of course, once they come out on top, how is that process going to go about? You guys contacting them and telling them they're in the finals and everything like that.
So we'll go and do the video review, and then we will reach out to the top 5 teams via email and telling them that they've made the finals for December 5th and give them the details from there. I'm hoping to have that process complete by middle. I don't have my calendar in front of me. I know I put it in our rules by middle of, I think, October 5th.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, that's what we'll do. And T-shirts. Some folks have asked about their shirts. They are at the screen printers right now, and hopefully I'll have them on Friday, and they will be mailed out to your home address that is listed through Competition Corner.
All right, yeah, so that's great. So anything else before we head over to demonstrate these workouts for the people?
No, I think the only other thing is when you're talking about like how, you see some folks perform higher, good in 1 week and then maybe a little less on another workout. And it there's so many factors into doing these workouts. Mm-hmm. Did you sleep good? Did you have a good, is work stressing you out? Or do you have family stressing you out?
Yes,
so
very much so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Life takes over. And did you eat enough? And there's so many different variables. Are you feeling okay? And so if you didn't get all of those external factors, if they're not all in a line on any given day, any athlete can either overperform or underperform based on all of those factors. So that's why when you test these workouts over 3 weeks, it's not just like how well are you taking care of yourself up to 1 day. It's how well are you able to manage all of those external factors over the course of 3 weeks. And so that's a long time. That's a challenge in and of itself to do. But it's a good thing to do for 3 weeks. I always say when I do these online qualifiers, I've never felt better because I'm taking care of myself, 8 hours of sleep, and eating everything that I need to eat, all the right foods, managing the stress, doing WOD, meditating, and I never feel better, usually. And then I tell myself I should treat every day as a 3-week online qualifier. So that's where you might see some differences, and there might be some external factors and some people that, weren't happening a week before but are happening now. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. Any week you can move up that leaderboard, and there are so many teams that are so close together, especially in those ones that are going to be for qualifying spots with 5 or more teams. So we're going to keep an eye on all of those. Of course, we'll have you guys covered next week with the final leaderboards. Everybody that made the finals will tell you all that on the show. But for now, we're getting ready to toss it over to this lady. She is going to pull double duty. She's going to demonstrate, and she's going to also commentate as well the workouts for both 20.5 and 20.6, so make sure that you guys check that out. Best of luck to everybody, and we'll have your leaderboard update next week for you. Now, we toss it over to Lisa.
Bye, guys. And the second to the last workout in Endure 2020 is Randy. Workout 20.5, it's 100 double Randy, 150 snatches for time, bringing that barbell from the ground directly overhead. The rep ends when the barbell is overhead. RX weight is 75 for the guys, 55 for the ladies, and the scaled weight is 65 for the guys, 45 for the ladies. And I told him that I would make him a CrossFitter by the end of this. Workout 20.6 for Endure is Mark and Dennis, 8 rounds for time. Partners are going to start doing 4 box jumps. You switch every rep. First, RX, you're at 24 inches for the guys, 30 inches for the guys, 24 inches for the ladies. Scale division, you're doing step-ups, 24 inches for the guys and 20 inches for the ladies. The rep ends when your hips are fully extended at the top of the jump or the step-up, alternating every rep. total of 8 reps for each. Then you're going to go to 18 deadlifts. Your weight is 245 pounds for the guys, 170 pounds for the ladies, scaled 170, and then 95. Deadlift will, standards will be emailed out to you. Then we're going to go to 7 synchronized bar facing burpees. You must jump over the bar at the same time. So Anthony's a rookie still. He's learning. So we're going to go and jump over the bar at the same time. That is considered a good rep when you jump at the same time. So I think we get it right there. Yes, that last one is a good rep. And you'll end with 36 wall balls. Wall ball, 9-foot target for the ladies, 10-foot target for the guys. You switch every 6 reps. And that is a wrap. Mark and Dennis for 20.6. Your standards are going to be emailed out to you. So check your standards. Again, check the Facebook